Yeah, once again, growing up, I remember people saying this that war is good for the economy because you had Desert Storm, uh, stuff like that going on, and then also watching documentaries on the History Channel. It basically kind of shows that during World War I, World War II, that and there's even conspiracy behind this where they were dragged into war so that they could. It's basically redistribution of wealth in a way because if you can get the people to back the war, and then even in those days they would invest in the war companies, they'd buy war bonds, and that would help build tanks. And then after the war was over, the bonds would be worth a little more money than what you put in, or at least worth the same, or whatever. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how that works because they don't do that like they used to, but it was all propaganda. It was all a trick. You can see that because what happened, they intentionally crashed the economy back in the day, and that caused a Great Depression and all that, and that even dragged them back into war again. You know what I'm saying? You can see how once again war is good for the economy. Even that was Hitler's plan to get Germany out of their massive Great Depression after World War I, and they lost, and then they basically got pimped. It's like cause either way, it's like whoever loaned them the money. Look, people just can't go to war. They got to have a whole bunch of people, a whole system to back them up to provide the goods that they need to wage the war. Listen, Art of War. It says that like Sun Tzu's like, man, war is the last thing you ever want to do because it costs way too much money and it bankrupts a nation. And everything will be broken at the end, and everyone will be dead. There'll be no one to work. It just really just destroys everything, and but there'll be just scraps left. You know what I'm saying? You have to build from the scraps left over. And but this. See, back in the day, I guess you could say maybe war was good, a little bit more better for the economy because uh, it was more like I said, it was the fact that they let people get in on it and reaping the rewards, you could say. But now, on the other hand, it seems like we're in so much war, man. The economy should be booming if that was really true. That war is good for the economy, uh, which it used to be, or so it seemed back in the day. And you can look into that. I mean, listen, this is. I used to hear the older people say, "Yeah, war's good for the economy. Jobs will be coming." But see, now they done outsourced all the jobs. Like they used to build the tanks here, like back in the World War I, World War II. They had the women start working because all the men were fighting in this war. That they did a conspiracy. With you can look how they knew that Japan was coming to attack Pearl Harbor, but they didn't. They let them attack to drag them in, kind of like 9/11. They blew up their own tower to justify going to war so they could help the economy. You know what I'm saying? And listen, here's the thing: it is good for the economy, but now where's the money going? It's not really being spent. I mean, it is. Things are being spent and being like trashed and used and just recycled or whatever. Or but it's like now they've outsourced all of this stuff, man. All of the proceeds. You know what I'm saying? It's more global. So now where the American industrial military complex, which that would trickle back out into society in ways. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day. But now instead they're extracting the wealth from the Americans. It's like the Americans' credit card gets it, but all these outsourced companies and corporations are raking in and they're sucking up like a syringe, a giant mosquito vampire syringe, just sucking up all that extra money, and it's going into the private sector. And that's the thing, what the private sector is. That's code word for globalists, for multinational, for tribunal, for UN, for one world, new world order, aka. And like who is the private sector? The private sector is your big brother. That is the Ministry of Truth. That is the memory hole. That is the academic fascists, the corporatists, the Halliburton, the let me think, your Blackwaters, your JSOC, that's your fusion center. That is your that is the dump box, the persistent surveillance. That is the all these cell towers going up. This is your drills going on. Your active shooter drills, because I heard that's like a federal program where every cop police sector that does a drill, they get like 50 grand that gets dedicated to the police, their police department, if they do an active shooter false flag drill. And we can see these happening all the time where they line the kids up and make them walk like this with their hands behind their head to the bus at gunpoint, kind of like a concentration camp roundup. They do these active shooter drills where they do that. That's private sector. You know what I'm saying? And that money really doesn't go to the people. It goes to the system. It goes to the beast, basically. And that's where the money's being extracted from. So the corporations extract it out from this public here. Then they grant it back to the same public. They like give you stuff, but the stuff ain't free. It's like it comes at a price. You got to do this now. Now, if we need to call in a favor, y'all got to do this because look, you're not going to bite the hand that feeds you now, are you? You know what I'm saying? So this war-based economy, and think about it, the war on terror, the war on drugs, the war on education, the war on equality, the war on everything. With all this war, we should just be dripping in profits if it was good for the economy, which it was back in the day, but it's not now. And it's not because it's not profitable. It's just they've rearranged the chip somehow, so it's extracting everything over here, pulling it out, and then they're leaking back littler and littler portion back to us because they're trying. It's a process to wear us away, and it's incrementally getting you to a slave, where it's like basically it's like it is just like that. It's almost like a parasite that is just taking and leaving you with less and less and less as it grows and gets bigger. The more you put out, no matter what that is, it's gonna just assimilate that energy back into itself, and then it's gonna keep feeding you out less and less and less until you're obsolete and it doesn't need you anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty crazy, and that's your transhumanistic, the next level of it. That is get everyone a damn microchip with a kill switch in it. You know, with the cyanide microchip, basically. And then if you don't like it, just shut off the chip. And hit the destruct key. It's crazy. So it's something to look into. I know that is it used to be a way that they could draw people into war, into big wars, is by crashing the economy, and it's basically get your back into a corner where it's like, listen, this is the only way we can get money from now on out. It's just it's a way to orchestrate it that to drag you into a war situation. That's one of the ways they can do it, is they just extract out the wealth, so that, and then you get the people so desperate that the only way that we can eat now is we got to go to the neighbors and rob their corn, basically. Oh, you know, like basically your leaders burn up all your corn and tell you, well, if you want to eat, you got to go steal theirs. You know what I'm saying? Here's the guns. Go do it. I mean, in a way, that's kind of how this really literally works. Or, look, your country can't support you, so join us. Join the Global United Liberation Force. I mean, it'll probably come under some name like like I see in this even too. It said Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I was like, whoa, how Machiavellian double speech Orwellian is that? That sounds exactly just like most tyrannical invader forces do. They always come under these names like the Freedom Liberation Force or uh, the National Liberation Foundation or Federation. They always got these snazzy titles that are Orwellian in nature. Like it's basically the opposite. It's like they're a bunch of it's a tyrannical gang of revolutionary nihilist anarchist types, but they got this noble name. You know what I'm saying? That's another way you could. You always see them evil coming in with these noble names and these noble snazzy causes, but it's really just the same old nasty, dirty tricks, just lies, just to get you to consent to doing something bad, man. Basically, trying to trick you into doing its evil, dirty work for it. You know what I mean? But they try to. It's that word magic, that pimpery, where you bend the meaning of things to where that it's your morals are totally you have none, but it seems like you have them. You think you have them, but they're just all twisted up, and that's exactly where they need you. So you can be a champion for the evil side, but you'll be thinking that you were doing good. You were going to liberate the oppressed, but really all you did was they just turned you back. You just were took the same bait as the last tyrant did. It really is like vampire. People get infected with the wrong ideas, and it just they go way off, man. And some of them never even realize what happened.